Hello lads, hope you're well. Today I wanted to talk about an interesting topic. This came to me after I went out for dinner or lunch or whatever it was with a friend the other day, and we started talking about this and it got me thinking about it, so I thought I'd make a video on it. That topic is, who can you talk to about your problems? Originally I was going to call the video who can you trust with your problems, but I think that's a slightly different question about who you should talk to. Everyone's situation is individual about who they feel they can trust. What I wanted to give is sort of a general overall opinion on who I think the best people are and are not to talk to about things going on in your life that you've got on your mind. So the first group of people or person or whatever I think is a good idea to talk to when it comes to your problems is certain friends. That's friends who are close, friends who, like I say, you do trust. I know it sounds like a bit of an obvious one, but I think, especially as men, we aren't very good at talking to our friends and being honest about what's going on in our life. I don't know if it's the fact that some guys feel like they're going to be judged, or some guys feel like their friends won't be friends with them anymore if they talk about what's going on in their life, but for whatever reason, friends aren't a group that people normally think of when it comes to who they're going to talk to. Now, the reason I wanted to be specific on this, and this is the bit that might upset a few people, I would not include your partner in this. The person you're dating, in a relationship with, married to. That's hugely controversial, and I do understand that, and a lot of people think that you and your partner should talk about everything and always be honest with each other, and I think obviously always be honest with each other, don't lie and things like that. The reason I say that is I have seen friends of mine be that person who they do tell their partner everything, which is brilliant, but if you've got a lot going on, sometimes just dumping it all on your partner really isn't a good idea. That's just the reality of the situation, because they have so much invested in you, especially if you're in quite a bad place and you're coming home every day and sort of dumping it onto them. That's not something that's really gonna be good for you or them in the long run. And frankly, especially if you're dating someone and you're maybe not with someone long term, but even if you are with someone long term, the reality is, as a bloke, if you spend loads of your time just moaning to your girlfriend or wife, they're gonna fall out of favour pretty quickly. That's just the reality of the situation. It's not necessarily right, it's not necessarily fair, but girls are not going to be attracted to a bloke who just moans, always just miserable about everything. And like I said, everyone has things that goes on in their life and stuff that they need to talk about, and if you've watched my channel, you know I do think it's so important to talk. But that's why I wanted to make this about who you should talk to, because I think a lot of people talk to the wrong people, and then when that experience goes badly, they just don't talk to anyone. Whereas if they'd just spoken to the right people in the first place, things might not have escalated to the point they did in the end. Second one, another obvious one, a paid professional. For me, this would always be the preference. An objective, paid, trained therapist, counsellor, psychologist, whatever. Obviously I'm biased as someone who wants to do that for a living, but there's a reason that this profession is huge at the moment. There's a reason this profession is under such demand, and the reality is psychologists, therapists, counselling don't train for 3, 4, 5 years to not be good at listening to people's problems and I mean, I wouldn't say therapy's advice giving, but helping people change the way they look at certain things. Obviously, downside of this, it does cost money. They are, especially a good one, is normally quite expensive, but for me that is an investment that if you can afford it, absolutely everyone should make. And I think even if you really don't believe in it, go for a few weeks and see how you feel. If you really go to a good trained professional therapist for 6 weeks and don't feel any better, then fair play. I wouldn't really have much to come back with that, but I'd be absolutely shocked. I would, personally for me, when I don't go for a while, if I go back and I have one session, if I have 1 hour session, I feel a million times better. This is really good for me. In a way, this is sort of my therapy, because I get to sit, just talk for ages, which is really all therapy is, and frankly what a lot of people need. Which is, again, going back to the first point, if you've got close friends that you trust with things, going down the pub, have a few beers and just chatting for hours can be really good for everyone involved. The final one, and I know this is difficult because everyone's situation is different here, that is family. Ideally, your parents. The reason I'd say this is because in most cases, again, I know it's different for everyone, your parents will only ever give advice with your best interests at heart. I was very lucky to grow up with two parents who, how do I put this? They didn't pull punches. My parents were always very, very honest with me, to the point of upsetting me quite a lot. But I knew that my parents never did anything malicious or vindictive. Everything my parents ever said and ever did was because they genuinely thought it was best for me. I'm not saying they were always right, but every decision they made and every piece of advice they gave, they thought would genuinely be in my best interest. I have a very small family, so I literally have one brother, two parents, and that's pretty much it. Got a couple of aunties and uncles, but no cousins, not a huge extended family. So for you guys, it might be an uncle, an auntie, a cousin. I know a lot of people are really close with their cousins. Like I said, I literally don't have any, so I can't really relate to that relationship. But again, family also, a lot of the time, are going to know you better than it. And that allows them to have a certain perspective and be able to talk with a certain amount of intelligence about your situation. The reality is, as much as I can give my opinion and give advice on this, the only person who knows the people in your life are you. And as I say, and if you can afford a therapist, that would be my absolute go-to start next week. If you can't, then you know the people in your life that you can trust and can talk to. I've given some examples of my opinions on who I would suggest, but like I say, especially when it comes to family and things like that, everyone's different. When it comes to therapy, I personally, even if it's just for the first few sessions, I'd always try and do face-to-face therapy. I personally know I wouldn't enjoy therapy sort of over Zoom or whatever, but then if you're really, really nervous about going, a Zoom therapy session is better than not going at all. So it's about what works for you at the end of the day. Thank you for making it all the way to the end. I hope you got some value and appreciate the videos. I always appreciate you guys who stick around. If you did get any value from it, please do consider liking, subscribing. As always, comment any other suggestions and feedback below as well. Actually, I'm really trying to sort of work on the quality of these videos at the moment, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care, lads.